Did that scene remind you of anything when you were watching it? The atmosphere?
I mean, yeah. What do you mean? Like of another thing I've seen,
Another film,
or
yeah. I noticed it when I was watching it, and I was like, I've seen this. And I kept like, thinking I'd seen it.
I mean, it looked familiar. I
Did
don't think
anything come to
I
mind?
didn't have a thought of
I
like I've
didn't
seen this
pull it
somewhere.
off what it
No.
was, but I researched. I kept watching stuff. Goodfellas. Yeah, and she was inspired by Goodfellas, and this
Nice,
is something that's fucking really cool too. Is that
nice.
she, someone in her academic career, in her theater background, suggested that when you're writing something, you're maybe it's a drama and you're so knee deep into this drama. And in
Mm.
her instance, it's comedy and drama going back and forth. And someone suggested watch something that's the opposite of this, and do it for several reasons. One is to make sure it's kind of like when you check sources, which nobody does this day and age, but I always teach. You always have to check your sources, and when you're writing something or creating an essay or doing research, you have to look at the opposing viewpoint because it's only going to make your argument stronger because you'll either find out you're incorrect about certain things or you'll be persuaded, but you should always look at the opposing viewpoint. And someone had told her for writing, which is amazing, and doing this film work, look at an opposing something that's completely off the charts different than what you're doing just to test and make sure you're not doing too much of it. And so what she came up with was The Godfather and Goodfellas. So mob movies
Hmm.
were so much different than this. And she ripped off the lighting, there's little red lights in the background. And I knew that I was seeing this, but I thought that was so cool that Goodfellas was like the inspiration for,
That's pretty cool.
intersecting with
Yeah.
this. And then The Godfather 2 was like one of her favorite ones to go to kind of take a break from what she was watching too. But that's just amazing, and I think it's such a great suggestion for writers to do in general, whether you're doing it for film or any kind of writing. Find something that's a completely different genre of what you're working in to test that you're not going overboard or that you can piece something or take something from that to
Hmm.
change the feel because maybe it's too much, etc. And that was really cool to learn that. I went off on that tangent.
It was a great tangent. That was a great
It is
tangent,
pretty
Blaise.
cool, right?
No, that's pretty fucking awesome.
Yeah. Are we still talking about family? Do we need to talk more about
Oh.
Claire and her?
Well, I mean, like a lot, like more big things happen in season two, at least from what I've seen and how it starts. I don't know if we should spoil it.
No, but you can
It's
talk
great,
about that
but
because you are correct. That season two is so different in many ways, and there's reasons for that. Like we're shifting. It's definitely a different season, and
well, they have a large amount of time pass that they say at the beginning of the episode. It's almost like a year and something, a
yes,
month maybe
yes,
has passed since the end of season one.
right,
So like all the characters have gone through stuff that comes into play almost like immediately. But yeah, the I mean we see that in a way Claire is still kind of uptight, but she has become more
yes,
connected with Fleabag. So
absolutely,
they're closer than they were in season one,
yep,
but they are so ingrained in their
yeah. Her and her
her
promiscuity,
personalities.
and Claire and her fucking anal. Like everything has to be this way, and nothing can be
Yeah.
outside of that.
So
But you totally caught on to what was happening because in the first season, there's all these. It's almost like juggling the fights that are taking place,
mhm.
between her and Martin, and between her and her sister, and between her and her father. And then in season two, we're picking up from because there are many moments where they are becoming closer, even though they can't communicate it or they can't
Express it
express
properly.
it
Yeah.
properly. That shifts. You feel the shift, and then
Yeah.
and there are the wonderful, lovely moments between her and her sister, and even her father, where she's starting to kind of like understand something. And even through Martin, she understands, by him yelling at her, and he comes back at her. She does not like him and wants her sister to leave him, and she says as such, which is a horrible thing to say to somebody. And that's, how is that possibly going to help the situation? It's not. But she kind of takes like, how do I say it? Enjoyment out of making him suffer or putting that in his face.
Yeah.
And then in season 2, we're picking up where still things aren't where they should be, but her and her sister are definitely closer. And then that continues to evolve.
Oh.
And eventually you'll see that the father thing evolves either for a good way or a bad way.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to ruin it. And you haven't seen it yet, but one of the things that where I want to go with this is, what were you talking about, the dinner table or something? Why don't you keep talking about Claire and Fleabag and what you notice?
I mean, that was pretty much it. Is like, even though their personalities are consistent, the relationship between the two has like mellowed out, and they've become closer. They become closer.
Yeah, they absolutely do. Talk about how they come closer, and I want you to do that because I am taking. This is my beer break moment, so I'm going to get a beer while you talk.
Uh-oh.
Take it away.
Yeah. So there's actually a pretty like serious right away in the first episode of season 2. There's a pretty big event that happens at that same dinner that we were just talking about. And that fridge sound, dude. So Claire, I guess let's call it a medical emergency at the dinner. And Fleabag walks in on her and finds out what it is. Oh, there we go. Party spell.
Spilling shit before I even drank.
And she genuinely has concern for Claire's health, and she wants to help her. But I was kind of frustrated with that kind of regression of character on Claire's part.
Yes.
Because
hold
okay.
Right there. I said this was unclear in our one of our episodes. This is a buckhorn that my grandfather fashioned into a bottle opener. So the audience sees it, but they didn't know what it was. Continue.
But yeah, so Fleabag actually wants to help her out. And then Claire has this regression of character where she shuts down and goes back to her old, like, tensed up ways. And it's like, I don't want you to tell anybody about this. Don't tell anybody about this. It's fine. Sit down, drink, whatever. And then they kind of it is a great moment of, like, they get back into talking.
Yeah.
The conversation picks back up, and then you just kind of see, like, Fleabag, like, has a genuine moment of, like, what the fuck? Like, are we really not going to address this? And then so she ends up taking ownership of the incident that has happened.
You articulate it very well because you said regression.
Yeah.
It absolutely is a regression. However, what's cool is that regression eventually, I don't care if I'm spoiling, it causes them to become closer, which is,
well, yeah,
she regresses into like she's being horrible towards Fleabag, who's just concerned for her and trying to help her, and she treats her like shit. Claire treats Fleabag like shit, who's the one that usually has it all together, and is dumping on her basically, and Fleabag's in a terrible situation, and it's just horrifying to her, and it's more like the family just shitting on her in this event, and but what's cool is, did that regression, you said it kind of did it,
it didn't work for me as well as I guess they intended it to.
You didn't think it? I thought it worked, and I think it's to me like that. How do you rate?
Well,
the character goes into regression, but I kind of feel like it develops her character and it develops Fleabag because she takes the blame, right?
Yeah.
So it's a way to develop both characters. And then without that regression, can they get tighter and as tight as they become?
Here's my issue with it, and I'm not a woman, so I can't speak too much on it. But like the suspension of disbelief with what happened to Claire, I'm like, well, there's no fucking way she can just be like so uptight and anal that after that she's gonna be like, sit down and drink, yeah, whatever. It's you know what? I was like, that's like some dark shit. That's
Okay,
like,
this is interesting. I bought it, but it might be because the ride in season 1, I was so enamored with this writing and this fresh new show that I'm just willing to like accept it. So I'll go back and look, but I bought it. I totally bought that character would be like, shut up and sit down. I'm going to drink. Like, we're going to drink. I'm not addressing this, and I'm not going to allow you to address it. Which is also, she's trying to protect herself from her relationship with her husband that sucks. But they're putting on a show about it. Go ahead.
But as a consequence, it makes her like seem like a shitty person. Like a really fucking shitty person. I'm like, I don't like that. I didn't like that.
She is. They're all shitty people.
I mean, I know they're all shitty people, but it's like...
shitty people.
Yeah, I just might kind of suspension of disbelief
South Park
with just her character regret. I was like, yeah, it just didn't work for me.
Well, okay,
but
this is something I was going to do at the beginning of the show, but now I'm going to do it now. You and I had ulterior motives to picking Phoebe Waller-Bridge's something. After watching this show. And how honest? Yeah, but you finished the first season. How honest? How despicable she makes this character? How honest she is about female? I mean, they go to a feminist. We didn't talk about that, but they go to a feminist show, and one of the things that the feminist says, she walks up there and is acting really corny, and so. Phoebe Waller-Bridge is writing, making fun of some elements of feminism, right?
Yeah.
So she's making fun of it, and then the lady says, how many of you in the audience would give up 5 years of your life for the perfect body? And Claire and Fleabag
they just like
almost knock each other down. They raise their hands like really high. That was hilarious.
Yeah, that was a funny moment.
And that she is willing, like I talked about Tarantino. Tarantino is going to be true to the story, or he's going to try to be. He's not going to bow to social whim, right?
Sure.
He's going to put things in that he thinks makes the story better, even if, the whole world is like going to jump on his shit. I feel she is doing the same thing. That she could have got. I'm kind of surprised she didn't get a lot more flack for a lot of what she says about treating female characters as real, right? So what I'm getting to is, I'm calling you out. You had a moment where do you believe now that Phoebe Waller-Bridge wouldn't destroy 007?
Maybe. So here's the thing. I did more digging with that, and she was brought onto the James Bond film. But they had stated it, and it's true. It's not her statement that she made. It was either whoever the production company for that was, or maybe the director, or the producers. They were like, we want to make it more relatable to the Me Too movement. And I'm just like, sigh, we don't need that. And you know what I mean? There's a different time and place.
Did they say we want to make it more respectable to the Me Too movement? Did they actually use those words, Me Too?
Yes.
They did.
I believe
Okay, you're going to have to show that to me.
I will. Okay, we'll do some digging, and I'll show you the article.
I did some digging, and I did some research, and I got a whole different take.
And yes, they brought in Phoebe Waller-Bridge, and she said that when she got there, so this is like in her defense. When she got there, she said in an interview that they had already had that mindset. So that's the path that they were going on. And they just brought her in to like help them, I guess, guide them down that path, that road. So, yeah, not completely blaming her on it. And I know Daniel Craig also had a say in it. It was
Okay,
also
good.
like,
I was going to add to
I
this.
want him, and I'm just like, can we not? Like, the whole thing of James Bond is that's you
Wait,
know what I
what do
mean.
you? No, no, I
That's
know
a whole
what you
different
mean.
conversation to
No,
have.
it's not. We're having this
Okay,
conversation right now. I had
okay,
ulterior motives, and I'm sticking to it.
all right,
What are you saying about Daniel Craig? Are you saying that he's bound to the Me Too movement?
yeah.
Why? Where did you get this information?
I don't know, dude. It's like all the movies nowadays. That's not all of them, but there's like so many. It's just like there was no need for it.
Okay,
Like why did he? Like there was no.
I'll tell you why. Because I fucking researched it
Okay,
and looked
go
it
for it.
up.
Go for it.
He loves her as a writer. He saw Fleabag and it blew him away. And he
Okay.
thought, this is exactly what Daniel Craig, and this is what I'm pissed off about the world today. And I'm kind of putting you on the spot.
Put me on the spot.
I'm throwing
Okay.
you under the
I don't give a
bridge.
shit.
But people don't, we just jump on like our anger or our emotion is infused with
Well,
stuff. And hold on,
okay.
I'm not saying that
Okay.
you're like, because I've had many discussions with you, Ray, and you are always willing, you're open minded and you're willing to listen. So I'm not like, but I am throwing you under, and that is you jump to conclusions that are out there that people say or that we make these assumptions, and it's bullshit. Daniel Craig brought her on not to for the Me Too movement. In fact, he gets pissed off. He got mad because so many people kept asking him about, how terrible are they to female characters and what don't we need to even the scale? And he's like, I'm not going there. I don't want to talk about that. I brought her on because she's a hell of a writer, and I was worried that they were getting a little too stagnant and cliched. And he said all parts, including the female aspect. But in no way was he being the whatever, bowing to the, I will say, social whim. I mean, the Me Too movement needed to happen. It was important. But this aspect of the cancel culture that got involved with it, that wants to destroy people, and nothing's based on fact. So what I'm saying is, people, everybody, our peeps, just everybody settle down and check your sources. Don't make these assumptions, because he brought her on, just what I said, because of the writing, etc. And so everybody, Ray, I'm throwing him under the bus. So Ray was like pissed off that Phoebe Waller-Bridge, because I was talking about how great Phoebe Waller-Bridge was, and you were like, oh, I don't know, she's just another one of those people that's trying to like blah blah blah, and you made that assumption, right? And I make assumptions all the time. I'm not like saying that we're whatever. It happens. However, it was completely incorrect about James Bond, about the intention of it, and what Phoebe Waller-Bridge says. So I want to read, because I do think this is important.
Okay.
I want to change this part of fucking society. Everybody, check your fucking sources, and because you hear something, it's the old Edgar Allan Poe. Believe only half of what you see and nothing of what you hear. And I want to live by that. But this is what she said. By the way, this isn't a Vanity Fair. So you're talking about her, and they ask her, is the James Bond franchise worth saving, and shouldn't we just kill it because of what it has done? And she wrote, this is coming from the genius writer, who, by the way, shits on females for being shitty, and we're going to talk more about that, as a matter of fact. And she shits on some of the ridiculous part of feminism. Not that, too much of it is ridiculous, just that she's so honest about what females go through, and that they're imperfect creatures too, right? And then she wrote this: there's been a lot of talk about whether or not the Bond franchise is relevant now because of who he is and the way he treats women, she said. Yeah. I think that's bullocks. And I love that right off the bat. She just like she does, this is the human being she is. She's like, this is fucking bullshit. I'm not going to be a part of this cancel culture crap. I'm not going to destroy something. She said, I think that's bullocks. I think he's absolutely relevant. She's saying that James Bond is still relevant. It has just got to grow. which I agree with. You might not, but it has got to grow. It has just got to evolve. And the important thing is that the film treats the women properly. Hold on. He doesn't have to. He doesn't have to. James Bond doesn't have to. He needs to be true to his character. She's just like what I was saying about Tarantino. She's going to write real characters. She's not going to protect them, which you and I hate. We hate that protected character and this cliched bullshit that we almost immediately know what's going to happen. Oh, here's a black guy. He's going to be perfect and a saint that saves everybody. And here's a woman, and she's going to be strong and she'll be the hero no matter what, and she'll conquer everything.
There's a lot
and that's
of
the opposite of a
nowadays.
Fleabag. So she's saying that. She's like, the important thing is the film treats women properly, and I'll get to that. He doesn't have to. He needs to be true to his character. She admitted that there was she had previously had a real appreciation for Daniel Craig, the way he played Bond, and I do too. When I saw this Bond for the first time, there was a wryness to his performance that I really loved, she said. So I was really excited about writing dialogue for him. That's what she's coming into this.
Sure.
Not to be, cancel things and destroy. Like, there are great things about James Bond. Everything from, as bad as some elements might be, James Bond is fucking phenomenal. And it's a part of history, and it's a part of, different eras. And it shows that. And that's what she's talking about. So I wanted to write dialogue for him. The script was there. It's already there. I think it's unfair to say that I'm writing the script. She just wanted to make sure that it felt like real people, but that's one of the things she liked about Daniel Craig. I just want to make sure that when they get to those pages through that Lashana, Leia, and Anna open them and go. I can't wait to do that. So she's going to complicate, from what I'm gathering, the female characters, and she's not going to allow, or together with Daniel Craig and everybody else, we're not just going to stay on the same generic trope, which, I'm all for. I always want to complicate a story if it's necessary or it could be complicated. And the other end that they're talking about is, opening everything up so that, you could have, she's one of them, a female writer, an incredible writer, added to the show. And that's what Daniel Craig said. He goes, I got her because she's a great fucking writer. I don't want to talk about anything else.
Sure. Okay.
But
that's fair.
The rest of it is, let's get DP and DPs that are women. They're as fully capable, etc. But I just want everyone to kind of let's get away from too much opinion. Let's get away from assumptions. Let's check shit and make sure. And I'm going to take this a step further because I'm not going to do it now. But I'm going to get into the whole J.K. Rowling because I also did my research on that. And I personally think it's bullshit that people are saying she's transphobic. But I want to have that. I really want to have the discussion with somebody that's trans for one. But based on what I've seen, people jump to the conclusions. And also I've seen articles that were so irresponsible that they took her words and turned them into something else than what she said. And one of the statements that I'll leave this here. One of the statements that J.K. Rowling said was, I will march with any trans women that are or trans men that are being persecuted, or if they ask me to, I will be there for them. And she says, my sisters and my brothers. And that statement alone makes me know that but she goes way deeper into it than that. So I feel as if a lot of her statements were miscategorized, misused, and also taken to a level that they weren't. And I don't want to be too political about this, but I did want to, because my worry too is, if you had kept that assumption, but this is why you're so cool, because you're fucking open-minded. You thought that about her, but you were willing to watch the show, because I'm like, no, dude, you got to watch the show. And you're like, okay, I'll do it. You're not going to just like stick to your judgment and that's all I'm going to fucking do and I'm not going to like whatever. Yeah. But there's so many people that are like missing out on incredible story, you know what I mean, incredible possibilities, et cetera, because they're jumping on the whatever.
Bandwagon.
Yeah, the bandwagon.
Well, true. But that being said, this show came out before. So this kind of like kickstarted her career from what I have heard, I believe.
Well, it took it to on the map. Absolutely.
On the radar and
took it to another level.
Yeah, took her career to another level. So we're kind of going back in chronological time here before this stuff. But also, it's a whole thing. We can, I guess, have a discussion on another episode or segment or whatever. But like, it's just Hollywood in general and giant production companies and producers. All these people trying to virtue signal, and they put these superficial, in transit characteristics of characters before stories, and they try to like push that out there and be like, oh, look how great we are. Hence why Hollywood literally now has a checklist of what kind of people you need to put in your films. Yeah. So you're already boxed in of like, not the story that you have in your mind,
right?
But the characters. And
I know.
And then how we fit a story around those characters.
Which we're
I hate that. I hate that.
But don't take it to the point. Don't let your anger, your emotion, of being pissed off about that, eliminate the possibilities of incredible stories that you don't know about because you think or somebody said this. We have to check it out. We have to like use our better aspect of our brain. Back to the Edgar Allan Poe quote: "Believe none of what you hear, and only half of what you see." So like, don't go there. And yes, and we're gonna fight it.
I mean,
and we're not gonna allow, like, we're not gonna make generic characters or make every time we see a woman she's gonna be this. And that's why it was part of the reason that I did this. And it's why I love Phoebe, because she's gonna rank. We're imperfect human beings. We're not from fetus to the grave. I don't care what generation you're from. Is it because there's a younger generation or whatever from fetus to grave that you're a fucking Jesus Christ or a Virgin Mother Mary? No, everybody's flawed. That's the whole purpose of story, is so we can kind of learn from it and evolve from it. That, to me, it is. It's one of my favorite things about story. But
that's the thing that's right. Currently, I view in mainstream entertainment, that's just like...
I think it's starting to change.
I hope
she's a perfect example of it. She's a perfect example. And like, that's why, I mean, she wrote a character that's despicable, and that's something we didn't talk about. So now I'm going to like shift it in. I want you to finish your statement if you whatever you want to say. After I threw you under the bus.
I don't care. We'll see. She's supposed to be in the new Indiana Jones, and rumor and leaks have it that she's like replacing Indiana Jones.
I don't even want to say like, we'll see.
But that's like a Disney thing because they're huge on that.
But how can you watch this show and possibly think that she's gonna like?
I watched that show.
Become one of those Hollywood.
They all either eventually do, or I hope she's not. I hope she is like going around saying, "Hey, I'm doing my own stuff."
I don't know how you can even like assume that she has written. Like there's more female characters, I'm pretty sure, that are more despicable, that are more cruel.
Well, that
are more than that we actually see of a male.
I mean, I didn't want to watch a show where like instead of portraying women as 100% saints, I want to be perfect, despicable. I'm like, no, just show them. It doesn't have to be to the extreme of being despicable or a piece of shit. I'm just saying.
No, I
be
know
a human. You know?
Yeah.
Be a human.
No, I know you're not. But I'm saying, how can you possibly think that she's going to destroy something after watching this and the amount of honesty that she brought to this? And I will say,
well, she doesn't.
I'll probably say this too much, but she's brave and daring.
Well, she's not the head of a giant production.
My God, Fleabag's one of the biggest fucking things. Like, I'm sure there was pressure at some point. But
sure, you know what I mean. When she gets involved with things like James Bond or Indiana Jones, that's Disney. At that point, that's Disney's top head of Lucasfilm having say and stuff.
But
She can fight it.
okay,
She can fight it.
This is probably ridiculous of me, and I'm probably being overprotective of the writer. But she's
I'm not
a
saying
writer
it's
and actor.
her.
I know you're not. She's the writer and actress up. What I'm
Yeah.
saying is, how can you possibly believe that she would create something like this and then go into another production and all of a sudden change all her fucking, abilities, and I would even say maybe morals, because
Because this is what I'm trying to get at, Blaise. This was her show.
I know what you're saying.
She was running this show.
I know what you're saying.
She's not running the other show. She's being told what to do.
I know what you're saying, but there's no way, based on what I've seen of her and her, she's not. It's like I look at the writing and I look at what she created. She created this.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
There's no way it's possible, but
It's
there's
very
no
much
way that she's going to do this. And I don't even want you to think that. I want you to I don't know how anybody could watch this and then all of a sudden think, oh my God, she's going to like cave and turn into this, whatever, cancel culture, generic fucking character shit. It's just interesting to me. But anyway.
Money talks, bro.
I don't give a shit. I don't think she's that kind of person.
I do. I'm sorry.
You think Phoebe is?
I can appreciate her work and still think like I'm gonna take a paycheck.
You think it's
wherever
possible?
it fucking comes.
Oh,
yeah.
Man. You can't make that judgment until you see it.
Bro.
You can't make that judgment until you see it.
Dude, if that was the case,
now you're not being open-minded.
If that was the case,
my God.
If that was the case, we'd have our shit fucking like, you know what I mean? We'll have our right now we'd have our shit.
No.
So I get it. You can have your morals and you can have your stance on things, and you can be like this.
Right, we're gonna come to fisticuffs. You cannot make that judgment until you see it,
all right.
And I don't even know how you can jump to that. You're already making an assumption. What I just talked about, you're making an assumption that she's going to do that for the money. She's going to fucking pay for it. I don't think she is.
I'm saying because she's again to emphasize the point. You're right. This was her show to run. She's not running the other things that she's.
I know we're going back in circles.
Yeah, I know exactly.
I can't imagine with what she created and how she thinks. What I think I know she thinks. That she's going to go and do that. So we're just
because when she goes over there,
agree to disagree.
They'll be like, "Hey, Phoebe, we like your stuff, but here's what our vision."
And I also think that she would stand up and say, she would eventually say, "You know what? We just they were more interested in making this cliche bullshit than they were this. So I'm out." Like I honestly believe that's how I feel. But
okay, I mean,
we'll leave it at that.
That would be a great question to ask her.
But let me. I just burped into the mic.
Gross.
Let me, so I was saying, she created this female character that was despicable, cruel. Mm-hmm. We didn't talk about like how cruel she is, and I definitely wanted to talk about that because it's incredible writing. So she treats some people that are like, like she picks up on this guy in the bus. And they're hitting on each other, and all of a sudden we see like he's got like buck teeth, and it's pretty hilarious. And she looks at us, the audience. It's one of the times she's like, "Oh my God, what have I got myself into?" And they start talking, and he's a decent guy. He's a dork, but he's a decent guy, and desperate to have a date to her sister's whatever. She pulls him in and brings him along, and we get to know this character, and she treats him like utter garbage even before then, and then after then she steals from him. So she steals from this guy that she hit on, and then she wants to fuck, right? She wants to have sex because that's her way of like dealing with shit. And he's like, "Oh, I wasn't expecting that, and I got to work, and I'm not ready." And she just dresses him down and calls him like a loser. And like, she's just a total shit. She leaves, and Phoebe Waller-Bridge writes this incredible.
That was supposed to deflect. I think she was trying to deflect what was going on in the situation. If that makes sense. No. She wanted to get out of that as quickly as possible because she stole from him, so she's like, "All right, I'm out of here."
Yeah, but she wanted to have sex. She wanted to have sex. She definitely wants to have sex, and then
it felt more as a deflection than.
But it goes back and forth, like it goes back and forth too many times to be like, you know what I mean, like just a deflection. She wants to fuck. She wants to have sex, and that's how. And she's like, it's like a addiction. It is an addiction to her, and she wants that to happen. And he's like, no, no, no. And then she just fucking lays into him and just, dresses him down, calls him everything in the book, and then she leaves after she's already stealing money from him. And this is Fleabag, man, and this is like the sign of the incredible writing. And this is her bravery, that she created a character, because there are shitty fucking women out there too. But she shows this female character do this, and then the writing is so good. She goes out, and this is what I'm talking about, this jump back and forth between like, oh, these horrible moments and gut-wrenching. And there's a girl out on the street that's drunk, and her breasts are hanging out of her thing, and she tucks her breast back in, and the girl's, in danger of, if the wrong person came along, she would be raped. And so she gets her in a cab, and then it even turns into a comical moment.
The last minute.
But it's so refreshing and great writing, and I would say brave of her to not be kind of swayed or persuaded by whatever the movement is, etc. She's just writing honest characters, and this word is it's going to become overused, vulnerable. I see it already. It's Brene Brown, by the way, is the shit. I don't know if anybody knows about her. She's a psychologist that studied happiness, and I know this sounds hokey, but she's brilliant. And she came up with these terms, and one of the things that she's like trying to combat, like the world that we're in today of, this whatever bullshit, that the way to be brave is to be vulnerable. And Phoebe has definitely done that, I think, in this series, and it has done like a incredible job of it. I can't say enough about like this writing, or the entertainment value too. Like it's not just, I know that I took it into that, I took it into the cancel culture and some kind of political, but you heard me talk about how brilliant the writing is and how great this is in story, and it's about evolving as human beings. I think everybody should see it. We didn't talk about, I made you watch the third episode of the second season. Yeah. Do you remember? What did you
think? I just watched it. Hang on. That's another thing. All these jump cuts at the end, it blends the entire thing together. So you're like, I kind of have troubles differentiating one episode as what, because it's just like,
no, I get that. Jump cut. No, I know what you're saying.
Jump cut.
Yeah.
Hang on. What happens in...
Well, Kristen Scott Thomas, who's one of my favorite fucking actors, the older woman that gets the award. So Fleabag, Phoebe Waller-Bridge is her sister asks her for her help.
Yeah.
In presenting, like making the food for this award, and it's the outstanding
woman in business. Her job. Yeah.
And every time did you recognize Kristen Scott? Every time I see her in anything, it just like, I'm like, oh, like I have to watch everything she does. But do you remember? So it's that sister and her going back and forth, and they're getting closer, but yet there's still shit. And then she fucks some stuff up again, which is thrilling to watch. But then she winds up, and this is a thread in the film, is the statue that we also didn't talk about. This is a wonderful thread that her future stepmother, has made this golden statue, and it's we're not going to say what it's actually of, but it's a female figure without a head and arms and legs. The female form of the body, which again, this is like a symbol of everything we're talking about. Really, it really is. It's kind of cool. But she steals this from her, and there's so much involved with it. Anyway, she breaks the award that's supposed to be given, which her sister says, "Don't touch that, don't do this one." And she winds up breaking it. So she winds up placing the statue in there for the female,
Yeah.
honoring the businesswoman. It's a naked statue, nipples and her, vagina and stuff, and I just said and stuff, and the woman takes it. Is like, okay, but what's? Do you remember the bar scene?
Yeah. Yeah.
What did you think of that?
Um, it was interesting. Um, it kind of sheds a light. I don't know. She has like a realization of like what.
It's raining outside.
Yeah.
For those of us that aren't seeing our YouTube video.
So she's talking with her and she's explaining her like what it's like to be like a successful woman, in business at her age.
Right. You were saying it sheds a light. It absolutely does.
And it kind of, and she's just like, she makes it seem fun, but at the same time, she's also like, it's not. So she's like, you can kind of watch Fleabag's face when she's having that, that monologue, and you can kind of see like her get like motivated by her, but also being like, oh. So,
I wish I could remember the exact writing or phrase, but do you remember she said, you must be so proud, Fleabag says, and she goes, really? And she shits on it.
Yeah.
Kristen Scott Thomas' character, the woman in business of the year, shits on it and says, like, this is like the kids' table of awards. This is so...
Kitty awards.
What does she say, though? She says, it's like demeaning. It's putting us in a... We've created this subcategory. Again, it's fucking going at it. It is like... It's like saying... it's pandering. She's basically saying it's kind of like pandering, and it's forcing us. It's kind of holding us into this thing, and it's bullshit now. Like we don't need to do this, and I love that. But she talks to her about aging, which is also a thread in this show, but becoming irrelevant, but also menopause.
Yeah.
This was. When she talked about menopause, I was fucking blown away. I was like, I felt like I gained a new insight into like what life must be for, a female. And again, it's like, it's this tightrope of, it's going back and forth. It's fucking mocking the bullshit part of, I don't want to say feminism, but like these awards and things. And then yet, explaining to an audience and making us have a new insight that we didn't have, and in that awesome line about women are carriers of pain, that we carry pain, like we know what pain is better than men do. And I fucking loved it. And she says men have to create it, and that's part of why we have so much war, etc. But that kind of insight into, fucking having to have a fucking period all the time, and they carry the creation, like the birth, like they have to suffer through all that. We don't have to suffer. Right? We just, we orgasm and like, oh yeah, and then, like they gotta carry it. And she talks about how females know pain that men will never fucking know and never understand. And it was like it was like an epiphany for me. It was so well written and so well delivered. I don't know if you felt the same way, but I just thought
I was just thinking, I'm like, this was definitely written in 2016. We wouldn't be allowed today.
Yes, it would. It absolutely would. This show is still...
Listen, that's what J.K. Rowling was
You're
saying.
getting too jaded, brother.
I am. And because I'm tired of this shit.
But did you? Let's talk about the scene. Like, did you get a new insight? Did you feel like, you agreed with it, or?
I mean, I feel like it's something I've always known. I wasn't completely oblivious to the female,
But that. Come on, when she says they know pain, she's saying they know pain better than we do as dudes. Do you agree with that or not agree? That was a fucking. It blew me off. I watched it like I can't even tell you how many times.
I get it. I understand it. But at the same time, I'm like, but I feel like it's two different things. I don't know if they're like apples to apples.
No, I don't think it is at all.
I understand
Yeah.
what she's saying, but
Yeah.
I'm like, but it's like you can't.
Yeah, you're jaded.
Fuck it, I don't care.
Again, dude, you've already said
but if
it's so nuanced.
But that's like so. I get it. Yeah,
the writing
is
it's so great.
It's not in your face, but if
it is in your face. It's in your face, like back and forth. Oh, bullshit! We're not going to be dishonest about this. This is fucking what we do.
Yeah.
We're despicable too, and yet you don't fucking understand this. And it's like,
but I've also
so many layers.
I've also not been around women my entire life. You know, I haven't lived under a rock, so like, you know, it's not like
I know that
it's not eye opening for me. I'm like, I understand. Yes, I understand it. I appreciate the mature way it was written and presented, but like.
But I'm talking about. So, do you think that like women know pain better than men or not? I never realized it honestly until that scene. I'm just going to admit it to the world.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that women know pain and held more pain than we have. Although I believe it. I believe in.
No, you're deviating.
No, I believe in many lives, and I'm quite certain. I don't know. I just feel like I'm in touch with my feminine side. I wonder if I'm
trying to be in touch with your feminine side.
No, I'm way in touch with it. Like to the point where, according to these definitions and everything, am I gender neutral? I don't know. But like, I think I'm so in touch with it. I feel like in past lives or something. I don't know. I kind of believe in that shit. But this seriously was an epiphany to me. It was like a way of expressing it, and a difference between men and women, female, male, that like just struck me as like, fuck. Like I learned something from this.
Yeah.
It really did like have that effect on me.
I don't know. I mean, yeah, I don't know how to put it.
It's all right. No, it's cool. I just wanted to express it. Just keep.
I also don't appreciate something.
We're not worthy. We're not worthy of this writing. I think I'm as great a writer. Well, I'm not, because I can't like do comedy and drama in
so
a half an hour like this.
Here's something we didn't talk about: the type of men they had in the show, which was like, I feel an unfair representation of the pipe. I'm like, either extreme like.
Oh, come on. She did the same thing with men that she did with women. She treated women. There's no.
No. I'm not sure.
Perfect woman in this either.
Yeah, but like, I'm not saying. I feel like they were showing like either like there's a bunch of like, either I don't know.
You're so jaded.
Yeah.
Look at the guy that refused to learn and then comes back, and how honest that moment was, and how like great they made him. And then look at the guy that was super handsome. It was ridiculous.
Well, he was an asshole though.
Yeah, but that was hilarious too.
It was fun. Yeah.
And then look at the guy with the buck teeth and how kind and considerate. Like that guy was a good dude. Or father.
He was a bumbling.
But there's no female.
He was a bumbling idiot.
I keep saying mother-in-law. What the
stepmother?
Stepmother.
No,
thank you.
Stepmother, godmother.
Stepmother, godmother is despicable. She's fucking despicable. She's they say it. They call her the C word. And I should say it because they said it, but they call her the C word. She's not, she's despicable. Fleabag, the shit that she does is despicable. Her sister is fucked up, right? There's no perfect female in the maybe Boo, maybe a little bit, but not really. Like
not really.
Yeah. So you can't. I gotta fix that jaded part of you. I'm gonna keep working on it. You got anything else?
Man, I think we
did
covered every aspect of the show.
I think we might have.
And I think we might have gone a little bit over time.
I think we might have gone over, but whatever. No, it was worth it.
It's a good show, and hey, if it's
a great show.
I would recommend people watch it.
Oh my, unbelievable! Like it's in my top 5 series.
Yeah,
for sure, mine.
It'd be something fun to experiment with, if for us to do like not a copy of that, but to like experiment with that style
comedy
of
yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I don't know if I'm up to the fucking task.
You gotta challenge
I'm
yourself.
working on a script. I told you the guy loses his family, and there's a gay character that's I kind of juxtapose those characters and put them in these situations. And it is a lot of heart wrenching and definitely a lot of comedy, but not as much as she goes back and forth. Jesus, it's just I wanna meet her and interview her, and I wanna like we're not worthy, but I don't think that about any human being. But she's pretty incredible. Check it out, Fleabag. It's phenomenal. And tell us if you emails. We're starting to get emails. We're gonna start addressing some of this stuff, but feel free to email us. You can find that information. Just look at the show notes or do a little digging. And we're starting not a lot, but there's a few. There's several, and several that are kind of they're good, asking questions about stuff. And we don't always I don't think I articulate things perfectly, but yeah, good stuff.
Good stuff, man.
All right, we're out, man.
We're signing out.
See y'all.
See ya. Celtics.